At the edge of a quiet town too small to appear on most maps, too far from the noise of cities, there stands a hospital barely 3 stories tall. Its walls are old but clean, its windows often fogged with dew by midnight. The parking lot is mostly empty. A few stray cats sleep beneath the ambulance ramp. Inside, the lights hum softly, flickering now and then, as if even electricity forgets to stay awake in this place. And yet, one figure moves, slowly, quietly, purposefully. Her name is Elise. She walks the halls with a clipboard in one hand, a warm blanket in the other. Her shoes make no sound. Her face shows no fear. She is the nurse on the graveyard shift, the watcher in the dark, the last thread holding a fragile place together while the world outside sleeps. There are no cameras capturing her courage, no applause when she stitches a wound in silence, no headlines when she sits beside a dying man and holds his hand through the final breath. But she is there, every night, when storms hit and roads close, when ambulances are still an hour away, when the only thing standing between panic and peace is a tired woman in scrubs. This is her shift. This is her story. Welcome to Unsung Hands, where silent hands are finally given a voice. Here, we tell the stories that time forgot, stories of those who work quietly behind the scenes, building the world while no one notices, jobs that never make the headlines, but without them, nothing runs. If you believe that every life deserves to be heard, hit like to support these quiet but powerful stories. And don't forget to subscribe to Unsung Hands, so each week we can uncover another hidden chapter of the human journey together. The clock on the wall clicks to 10 p.m. Outside, the wind moves gently through the trees, and the last car pulls out of the hospital parking lot, its headlights disappearing into the dark country road. Inside, the hallway lights hum. The day shift is gone. The last physician signed out an hour ago. The janitor gave a tired wave and left through the back exit. And now, she is alone. Elise stands at the nurse's station in faded navy scrubs, tying her hair back into a low bun. She has done this hundreds of times, but the feeling never fully fades, the quiet click in her chest when the hospital becomes hers. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, literally. Every room, every alarm, every emergency, every life, it all comes down to her. The Willow Creek County Hospital is not big. It has 6 patient rooms, a single trauma bay, and an emergency entrance that no one would notice if they weren't looking. No cafeteria, no security guard, no backup staff waiting in the wings. But for this town of less than 3,000 people, it's everything. Elise checks the whiteboard. 1 patient with pneumonia in room 2, a teenager coming off withdrawal in room 4, an elderly woman recovering from a fall in room 5, all stable, for now. She walks the corridor slowly, her shoes making the softest echoes against the linoleum. She peeks into each room, gentle as a whisper. No one stirs. She adjusts a blanket, lowers a monitor's volume, scribbles a note. Her presence is barely felt, but always there, like the night air or the steady hush of wind beyond the windows. Back at the desk, she pours herself a cup of coffee from the small machine they keep behind the counter. It's burned and bitter, but familiar, comforting in its own stubbornness, like her. On the far wall, a corkboard holds up hand-drawn cards from children in the local school. Crayon messages. "Thank you, nurse. You helped my grandma. You're a hero." Elise smiles at them. She doesn't feel like a hero, just someone who stayed when others didn't. At 10:45, the phone rings. It's not a code, not yet, just a voice from the residential facility down the road. "Mr. Granger's oxygen is dropping again," they say. "He's on his way. arriving by private transport. No ambulance, there wasn't time. His breathing is shallow, possible fluid in the lungs. Elise hangs up, sets down her cup and moves. The trauma bay is quiet, untouched since yesterday. She flips on the overhead light and starts setting up. Oxygen ready, IV kits laid out, suction checked, monitor cables untangled. She works methodically, hands moving with memory more than thought. There's no trauma team to call in, no ER physician on standby. The nearest on-call doctor is 45 minutes away. In these hours, she is the response. By 11:05, headlights flash through the glass doors. The transport van pulls in. 2 aides roll the gurney in quickly. Mr. Granger is slumped to the side, gasping, eyes wide with fear. Elise is already there, lifting the oxygen mask, attaching the leads, speaking low and steady. "You're okay, Mr. Granger, I've got you now. Just breathe. That's it. In and out." His chest rattles. His pulse is rapid. She adjusts the bed, tilts him upright, checks his airway. She can hear the wet gurgle in his lungs. She pages the on-call, gets no answer. She tries again, leaving a detailed voice message. Then she calls the nearest regional hospital to prep for possible transfer. But first, she stabilizes him. Lasix, oxygen, 4, fluids, slowly. She listens to his chest with a stethoscope that's grown worn around the edges. She keeps her voice calm, keeps her movements slow, lets him see her face. See that he's not alone. 15 minutes pass. 20. His breathing evens out. Still labored, but steady. He closes his eyes. Elise exhales and checks the monitor one more time. She notes everything, every drug, every number, every word he whispered between gasps. She wheels him to room 3, gets him settled. His breathing sounds like broken branches rubbing together, but he's resting. For now. By midnight, the halls are still again. She washes her hands, folds the extra blankets, updates the board. The shift has only just begun. The clock reads 12:11 a.m. Elise is sitting at the nurse's station, updating Mr. Granger's chart, when the phone rings again. This time, it's not a quiet voice on the other end. It's panic. A woman, sobbing. Her husband collapsed in the barn. She doesn't know if he's breathing. There's no cell signal out there. She drove 20 minutes just to make the call from the gas station. She's on her way now, bringing him straight to the hospital. Elise's heart kicks once, hard. "How long has he been unresponsive?" she asks. 2, don't know. 10 minutes? Maybe 15? I couldn't wake him. Elise hangs up and moves, fast. She flicks on the trauma bay lights again, preps everything. Crash cart unlocked, AED tested, oxygen at full, suction ready. She lays out the airway kit, draws up a dose of epinephrine. Her hands don't tremble. They've learned not to. She calls the on-call physician. Voicemail again. No time. She notifies the regional hospital just in case this man needs to be airlifted. Then she waits. Not still, but poised, alert, like the string of a bow pulled tight. The minutes stretch. Every passing second is a heartbeat lost. At 12:29 a.m., headlights slice through the darkness. A dusty pickup truck screeches to a stop. A woman jumps out, screaming for help. Elise is already there. The passenger door flings open, and a heavy figure slumps forward, his head limp, lips bluish. No pulse. She yells for the woman to help her lift. Between them, they drag his body onto the gurney. Elise begins chest compressions right there in the ER, entrance deep, steady, relentless. She counts out loud, 1, 2, 3. The woman sobs uncontrollably, backing into the wall. Keep breathing, Elise tells herself. They push him into the trauma bay. Elise attaches the defibrillator pads, checks the monitor flatline. Asystole, no electrical activity. She doesn't hesitate. Epinephrine, compressions. Another check, still nothing. She keeps going. Elise has done this before. Not often, not alone, but she knows what it means to fight for a heartbeat in the silence of night. With only adrenaline and training to guide her, she listens closely not just to the monitor, but to the man beneath her hands, to the fragile thread of life that might still be holding on. Another cycle, another push. Sweat runs down her temples. The trauma bay is quiet except for the rhythmic thud of her compressions and the sharp beeps of the machine tracking nothing. And then, a flicker. It's faint, but it's there. A single, jagged wave on the screen. She freezes, looks again. A heartbeat. It's slow, uneven, but it's real. She hooks him to the monitor, stabilizes the airway, adjusts the oxygen, keeps watching, keeps hoping. The man gasps once, then again. Elise breathes for the first time in minutes. Outside, the woman cries softly, hands pressed to her mouth, rocking on her heels. Elise steps out just long enough to nod. "He's back. I've got him," she says gently. The woman collapses into the nearest chair. Inside, Elise works quickly, starts fluids, draws labs, monitors vitals. She doesn't celebrate. Not yet. Not until she's sure he's stable. By 1:10 a.m., she has him intubated, sedated, and prepped for air transport. The medevac crew is en route. 20 minutes out, she stands by his side, charting every intervention. Her gloves are sticky with adrenaline, her voice hoarse from the quiet strain. At 1:32 a.m., the helicopter touches down on the rooftop pad. The flight nurse takes one look at the notes Elise hands over and says, "You did all this by yourself?" Elise nods. The nurse whistles low. "You probably saved his life." Elise doesn't answer. She watches as they load him into the helicopter. The rotors start to spin. Wind rushes across the roof, tugging at her hair. The blades blur into white noise, lifting the man into the night sky. She stands there until the lights disappear beyond the treetops. Then she turns and walks back inside. The hallway greets her like a sigh. It's 2:07 a.m. now. She still has 3 patients to check, fluids to hang, notes to finish. No one will know what just happened in that trauma bay. No headlines, no stories. No one will even ask. But a man is alive because she was there. And that is enough. It's 3:03 a.m. The trauma bay is dark again. The machines have been turned off. The cart is restocked. The floor has been mopped clean, though a faint smell of sweat and adrenaline still lingers in the air. Elise walks slowly down the hallway, her body stiff, every muscle pulsing with quiet ache. The worst is over for her now. This is the hour no one speaks of. The hour when the world seems to hold its breath, when even the wind grows tired and the shadows stretch longer than they should. It's the loneliest part of the night, and Elise knows it well. She stops by room 4. Inside is a 17-year-old boy named Cody. He came in 3 days ago, brought by his mother, pale and trembling, skin clammy, eyes hollow. Fentanyl, they said. Pills bought online, crushed into powder. His body is still fighting to remember how to live without it. Now, he's sleeping sort of, tossing, moaning. His arms twitch under the blanket. Elise steps inside, quiet as a breath. She checks the IV, adjusts the monitors, wipes his forehead with a cool cloth. His breathing evens out a little. She sits by his bed for a few minutes, watching the rise and fall of his chest. She remembers how his mother held his hand during admission, how she looked at Elise with tears in her eyes and said, "He was such a sweet boy." Elise doesn't know what he'll be tomorrow, but tonight, he's alive. She leaves a note in his chart. Mild tremors continue. BP stable. No hallucinations observed. Then she moves on. In room 5, Mrs. Leanne is sleeping deeply, a peaceful kind of stillness. Elise peeks in, smiles, then gently pulls the blanket over her shoulders. The old woman murmurs something about tomatoes and rain, and Elise doesn't correct her. In the break room, the lights buzz overhead. The coffee pot is cold. Elise heats water in the microwave and stirs in powdered cocoa from a tin labeled Christmas 2022. She sits down for the first time in hours, letting her shoulders drop. She takes a sip. It's not good, but it's warm. On the counter is a crumpled note left by the nurse on the last shift. Try the lemon muffins. They're weird, but good. Elise finds one in a napkin, takes a bite. It's too sweet, but the sugar kicks her brain awake just enough. She checks her phone. A photo from her son. It's a drawing him, the cat, and a little house with hearts floating above it. In the bottom corner, "Night, night, Mom, I love you." Elise stares at the screen. Her throat tightens. She taps out a reply, "I love you too, sweetheart," but doesn't send it. She knows he won't see it until morning. Still, just writing it feels like touching home. Then the monitor beeps. Room 2. Mr. Granger's oxygen is dropping again. Elise moves quickly, rolling the portable oxygen tank down the hall. She steps inside the room, switches the mask, adjusts the flow rate, listens to his lungs. He stirs, coughs, opens one eye. "You're still here?" he croaks. "I don't go anywhere," she says, smiling. "You're stuck with me." He chuckles, weak and raspy. "Lucky me." She stands beside him until his breathing evens out, then quietly tucks the blanket under his chin. Before she leaves, he whispers, "Thanks, sweetheart." She doesn't correct the familiarity. At 3:40 a.m., kindness is currency. Back at the station, she logs the intervention, double-checks the lab orders, scans through the supply sheets. She notices they're running low on saline bags again. She makes a note to call the regional warehouse in the morning if she remembers. The walls creak. Somewhere outside, an owl calls. The hospital hums in low tones machinery, air vents, the pulse of quiet vigilance. Elise breathes it in like oxygen. This is her world. This is where she disappears, and yet becomes most herself. She leans back in the chair just for a second, closes her eyes, not to sleep, just to listen. To the silence, to the space between emergencies, to the part of the night where nothing happens, and that's the miracle. The sky outside has begun to shift just barely, a shade lighter, a softer blue edging the black. Morning is still an idea, not a reality. But inside the hospital, time continues its quiet crawl. It's 4:45 a.m. Elise walks down the hall with a fresh set of linens tucked under her arm. She's heading toward room 6, where Walter has been resting for 3 days now. Palliative care. Stage 4. Cancer. No more treatments. No more options. No family. He arrived with nothing but a suitcase and a worn photo of a woman in a Sundresha's wife, who passed 2 years ago. He keeps the photo on the bedside table. Sometimes, Elise catches him staring at it for long stretches, eyes lost in memory. She knocks gently before entering. "Morning, Walter," she says softly. His eyes are open, staring at the ceiling. He doesn't turn toward her, just blinks slowly, as though it takes too much energy to shift focus. "I brought you clean sheets," Elise adds, placing them on the chair. "And I made cocoa earlier. Not great, but warm." Walter's lips move, barely. She leans closer. "Do you think it hurts?" he asks, voice brittle and dry. "What, sweetheart?" "Dying." Elise sits beside the bed, resting one hand on his. His skin is cool, the veins faintly purple. "I don't think so," she says after a pause. I think it's like floating, like falling asleep without noticing, like hearing your favorite song from another room. Walter smiles, just a little. That sounds nice. It does. They sit in silence for a while. No monitors in this room, no beeping, just the slow rhythm of breath, the whisper of morning trying to arrive. Elise doesn't rush. She doesn't look at the clock. This moment matters. Walter closes his eyes. His fingers twitch once in hers, then settle. She stays, holding his hand, even after the stillness grows long, even after the rise and fall of his chest no longer comes, even after the room feels different, emptier, quieter, final. She knows. She gently presses her fingers to his neck, waits. Nothing. She reaches for the call button, picks up the phone. Her voice is calm as she notifies the supervisor. Time of death, 5:07 a.m. No alarms, no code, no rush. Only peace. Elise smooths the sheet over Walter's chest, closes his eyes, straightens the photo on the nightstand. Then, from her pocket, she pulls out a small artificial rose. She keeps a few in her locker-soft fabric petals, deep red, scentless, a personal tradition. She places the rose on his chest. A goodbye. She writes the note in his chart. Patient passed peacefully, no distress noted, nurse at bedside. It's clinical, impersonal, but between the lines, there's care. She wheels the linen cart back to the supply room, washes her hands, looks at herself in the mirror above the sink. Tired eyes, loose strands of hair, the face of someone who holds goodbyes in her palms more nights than she cares to count. But her reflection doesn't look away. It stays, just like she does. Outside, a sliver of orange cuts across the horizon. The day is coming. Back at the station, Elise sits down, updates the board, sips the last of her cold cocoa. Room 6 is now empty, but not forgotten. The world is turning pale blue. Outside, the sky stretches wide and quiet. The first birds are singing, tentatively soft chirps breaking the long silence of the night. Street lamps flicker off one by one. A delivery truck rumbles past the hospital without stopping. Inside, Elise finishes her final notes. She documents everything. Mr. Granger's oxygen dips, Cody's vitals during withdrawal, Walter's passing. Every detail typed in clean clinical language. It doesn't capture the night, not the way it truly was, but it's the record, and that matters too. The front doors slide open at 6:15 a.m. sharp. Samantha, the morning nurse, walks in with her coffee in hand and earbuds still in. She looks rested, alert. Sunlight follows her like a quiet promise. Elise offers a tired smile. Rough night? Samantha asks. Elise nods. A code just before 1. We brought him back. He's in the ICU now, airlifted out. Mr. Granger needed oxygen support twice. Cody's stable but still twitching. Walter passed around 5, peacefully. Samantha's face softens. Were you with him? Yeah, Elise says. He wasn't alone. They exchanged the kind of look only night shift nurses know. The weight of long hours, the quiet goodbyes, the invisible work. Samantha takes the handover sheet. Elise signs out. No ceremony, no applause. Just a click of a pen and the rhythm of responsibility shifting from one pair of hands to another. Her shift is over. Elise walks to the locker room and changes out of her scrubs. Her hands are red from constant washing. Her feet ache. Her mind is a quiet fog, heavy but steady. She checks her phone. A text from her son, sent just minutes ago. Morning, Mommy. Did you see my drawing? She smiles. Yes, baby, I did. She steps outside into the chill of early morning. The sky is pink now, the color of cotton stretched across the horizon. Dew covers the windshield of her car, and she scrapes it with a gloved hand before unlocking the door. The drive home is silent. No radio, no podcasts, just the sound of tires on gravel and birds calling to each other across open fields. The town is waking slowly. Houses flick on their porch lights. Someone walks their dog down the sidewalk, unaware of what happened last night just down the road. That's how it always is. No one will know about the man whose heart stopped in a barn, or the teenager fighting to stay clean, or the old man who left this world with a nurse holding his hand. These stories dissolve into mourning like breath on a mirror. But Elise knows. She carries them, tucked behind her ribs, gentle and heavy, each one a thread in the tapestry of lives touched during the night. By the time she gets home, her son is at the table with a bowl of cereal. His hair is messy, his pajamas too small at the ankles. He runs to her when she walks in. "Hi, Mommy." She kneels to hug him, burying her face in his warmth. "Hi, baby. Did you sleep well?" He nods, then pulls back. "Did you save someone again?" Elise thinks for a moment. "Yes," she says softly. "I think I did." He grins and runs back to the kitchen. She watches him go, then heads to the bedroom, draws the curtains, peels off her clothes, washes the night from her skin. By 8 a.m., Elise is in bed. The house is quiet again, but different this time. Familiar, gentle. She closes her eyes. Outside, the town begins its day. Inside, one nurse sleeps, and the hospital waits for night to fall again.